right, guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Just Chris Podcast. This is episode 32. We have a very special guest on the podcast this week. We're bringing him back. I told him a few months ago, I said, Thad, we're going to get you back on the podcast. And here we are again, dude. I'm stoked to have you on again. How you been doing?
Yeah, I've been doing good, brother. I've been enjoying my summer, watching everything, enjoying these Olympics to round it out. Having a good time. How about you, brother?
There we go, man. Dude, I've been doing well. Been staying busy. Just trying to get right back in the swing of things, coming back from the beach. But I'm doing well, dude. Can't complain about anything at all. I do like the poster in the background, the Naruto. It's pretty sick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got to keep it authentic. I actually got this like my freshman year in college. This is what started
Really?
out the graphic design of the gauntlet. Now that it's back in the crib, it's something to set it down. And then on the other side, got all the books and stuff. I actually got some manga in there as well, too. So,
Oh,
got to
really?
keep it well-rounded. Absolutely.
It's awesome, dude. Dude, the bookshelf's looking good, dude. I wish I could keep up with books like you do.
Hey, I just actually went to Books A Million, signed up for my yearly Millionaires Club. Got about
No way.
$100 worth of books, but it was some good wealth in those things. So, you just got to keep it going and invest it in there.
Yeah, what kind of books did you pick up?
I got Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. Finally grabbed 48 Laws of Power in print. Been wanting to get that by Robinhood
Oh,
for a long time. I had Mastery,
nice.
but I finally got 48 Laws of Power in print, but I've seen a lot of interviews and stuff with him on it. And then I also grabbed up Sun Tzu, Art of War. I wanted to get that in print for a while. Grabbed that. And then I got Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by the Hunter S. Thompson, because why not just get a great novel like that?
Yeah, really. You got some nice little pickups. I'm jealous of the 48 Laws of Power. I've been seeing and hearing so many great things about that book, and I've just been meaning to buy it. But you got to let me know how it is.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's an experience. Like, he writes outside of the margins and has different notes and things, and some things are written in black, some things are written in red, some things just go all out. Like, it's an experience to read that book. It is wonderful.
That's pretty sweet. I'm definitely going to check it out. So you've already started that one. Have you started any of the other ones?
I started Way of the Wolf just because why not? Like, the entire time I'm reading it in Jordan's voice, so it's like just hilarious to me.
It works out.
Yeah, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I've also just read through that just because it's just so iconic. And I've just sifted through Sun Tzu's Art of War just a little bit. That I think that's a really good book for just checking in every single chapter. I think every chapter in there is pretty useful except for the how to use fire. But it's just one of those things that you can just go to in a leadership moment or a team moment to reflect on and kind of just bring that out. So that's really why I wanted to get that in print, just to be able to refer to and use in
Yeah,
everyday
definitely.
life, as the years to
I'm
come.
very similar with that, with How to Win Friends and Influence People by
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie. Great book. I've had it for years, probably since like freshman, sophomore year of high school, but always great to go back through and just like freshen up on that stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the arsenal. Got to keep it in there, locked and loaded.
Exactly. And then I started a new book recently called Millionaire's Mindset. So I've been working to get through that. I started it when I was at the beach, and I took a little break when I got home, but I'm trying to get right back at it. Definitely a good book so far. It really just kind of teaches you, or kind of like changes your way of thinking, which is, extremely beneficial. It just
Hmm.
kind of teaches you how to think more so in the mindset of a millionaire, if you couldn't have guessed from the title. But already, like, I picked up a lot of pretty cool things, and I'm stoked to keep getting into it. But I'm happy to hear about your new book collection, New Cops.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got to keep it going. Got to keep it going. I appreciate it, boss.
Yeah. So what else news been going on? You said you've been keeping up with the Olympics. How's work been? Staying busy?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we just finished our Democracy Caravan tour for jobs around the state. We went to Huntington, West Virginia, Beckley, West Virginia, Parkersburg, West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia, and then finished in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. And we got in total about 1,000 postcards that we're sending the mansion, just to
No
bring
way.
50,000 jobs to West Virginia to keep our local youth and families there. That was a really big campaign that we were pushing. I think that we really hit some goals on there. Our national director, Maurice Mitchell, came into the Morgantown event. We actually caught wind with Laura Flanders' show. She broadcasts on PBS. She came down and recorded. I spoke to her and had an interview. I was on her show actually a week ago.
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like I get this call from LA coming in, and I'm like, LA, like, is this my car warranty? Okay, let me just answer this. And then she's like, "Hey, this is Shelby Sabrina with the Lord Flanders show. We wanted to make sure that we had your information right for the broadcast this Sunday." And I was like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. This is awesome." So, that was a really good experience. Now going into the fall and winter, just planning on getting people more organized to not only understand, we can bring 50,000 jobs to West Virginia. We've seen the Joe Manchin, and they've moved on this infrastructure bill here in the last recent days. They actually had a Sunday
Right.
meeting. That's very rare. So things are getting through. They're listening to the constituents, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a government that works for the people. And,
There we
that's really
go.
what I want to catch wind with, because you don't know how the news is going to change in the coming weeks. So we're going to have a welcome gathering here on August 11th, virtual. Hit me up if you all are interested. And then we're also going to be doing things here in Southern West Virginia with me. I'm going to be looking to do more events to gather around and organize and stay on the lookout so that we can build some people power going into these primaries.
Yes, sir. I'll definitely plug your information in the description of this episode. Dude, that's great to hear. The tour went well. What was your favorite part?
Definitely just like the canvassing, like the door knocking and going to people and talking to them about this stuff. Because a lot of people say, politics doesn't matter about me. I don't care about politics. And I'm like, listen, like, you wake up to an alarm clock or a phone rather that wakes you up that is, regulated by the government. The phones can only be so large in their market because of laws of monopoly and statutes. Your AEPs of the world that are out here funding your electricity for you to have lights every single day. That's regulated. You get on a government regulated road with a DMV. Like, these are things that pertain to your everyday life. And so it's only fair that you're aware of these things so that you can feel that you have something that resonates with what needs to happen. Dr. Wagner, right? The famous Dr. Wagner of DNE, as his hard self was. He always talked about faith in public policy, which was get people that get people off their back and lights that fire in their stomach to do something, and use that to form public policy. And when you think about it, that's all public policy should be. It's things that we care about, that are important to all of us, that are safe to all of us, that give us these liberties and these disciplines to be able to walk as the society that we do, to have us regulate ourselves, because we only know our local selves as best as us. They in DC don't really know us because they're in DC, but around the local people, like especially us on a college campus, we know each other better than the college president because he's
Yeah.
never there. So, that's how you got to take care of it. And that's how we took care of things at Student Assembly. A lot of things that me and you learned in our leadership experience doing Student Assembly, that's what I use now. And so it just, you just show the lessons of experience and what you actually want and what actually works, and you crunch the numbers, and, you get it right, and you run a candidate every now and then to make sure that things are working.
You get a lot of positive feedback from doing the door to door.
Yeah, it was really good feedback. It was people like, oh, I don't like Manchin, but it's like it's not so much that this is a attack. It's more so you signing that postcard right now is your first step in taking action for something that you care about. Let's take the next step by you coming to this event. Let's take the next step by actually having meetings that you're coming to in a welcome gathering. Let's take the next step in actually setting up a charter for your local community to come in every single quarter and talk about, and then canvass just like us for elections. So it's taking people's first step in action, because they don't think that something as simple as writing their name down on a postcard is as action, right? But it's the first step in getting their toes wet that was really making them excited about it. And then we would see them at the event, and now you're seeing them take their first steps and taking action and really
That's
realizing
awesome.
what a government for them feels like and looks like.
Yeah. So for the people that are wanting to kind of get involved with that stuff, that are outside of your tour dates and all that, what would you say are like the first steps to really take to really begin to get your toes wet? Like, for
Well,
example, like someone, say me down here in North Carolina, are you taking tours in North Carolina? Or is it
yeah,
oh, really?
we should. I mean, we should. I mean, I think we do have a charter in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure. because we have
Okay.
our regions. We're national, so we have like a Mid-Atlantic region and a Southeast region. But I believe North Carolina is a part of the Mid-Atlantic region, so you're a part of my region. So
Oh,
yeah, that's definitely a possibility that we would be in the wings to do something like that, and you know, let's get it done, right?
yeah, really.
But I
But yeah,
mean,
like
really.
what?
Oh,
Oh,
my
go ahead.
bad. So, like, whenever you talk about like taking first steps, though, at the same time, you can text, your state to 30403, or you can just look up workingfamiliesparty.org on the online, and you can start to see where your state connects. You can sign for the People's Charter, which just shows you our values, mission, and vision for what we want to do of working to have a party that works for us. And so we have mobile things that allow people to do text banking and phone banking, and learn that way and taking action. And then eventually, sometimes too, we actually hire on volunteers, pay them pretty well to actually actively help us canvas, actively help us phone bank, actively help us text bank to other community members around them, and just engage them and just work with them and understand that this is something that you can be paid for because it's something that's valued. Um, and that's what we want to have, is something that works for us, that we value each other, that we're actually setting the standard of paying each other and setting a value for each other for things that we like to have done that work for us.
Yeah, definitely. So what are really like the next steps after this? You said you guys are gonna start stuff up back in the fall.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna start some more welcome gatherings. Try and keep that to about one a month.
Okay.
So like to be having those at least once a month, talking to the people, getting the people in, getting more members, and then actually setting up more regional charters within states and groups that they can all come together at set times and dates to talk about local significant issues and then pull resources together need be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now at those like welcome gatherings, are that you guys like providing food kind of similar to what you had going on in drawing a blank here. When I came up
Oh, like
recently.
in the tour? Oh no.
Hmm.
Well, the welcome gatherings mostly for right now, especially with the Delta variant, we're going virtual. So we're doing a lot
Okay.
more virtual meetings. So we'll contact you, and I'll have a mobilized link. You go on the mobilized link and you join the mobilize with us, and then you'll be able to have access after signing up with us to have the Zoom link. And
Okay.
then getting on this, that helps with a lot of Zoom jackers and things like that, and then helps you actually get into the database to see more events that are available near you, pertaining more to your state, something on a topic that's more centered to you if you have been to a welcome gathering before. So it really helps you niff through on the software, and that makes a lot of things easier on your part. So
Yeah,
that's what we
definitely.
do to like get people on and get them on with the virtual part first, and then we have them, connect with more local members around them, and they can set some things up as they wish.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say because when I came up to Beckley, you guys had that event that day, and you guys cooked up all those meals. And I
Yeah.
was thinking about that, and on my drive back or my drive to Elkins from your place, I was munching. I was thinking, man, if he could put this on all the time and people knew about
Oh
the
man,
food was great.
oh
Yeah,
it was ridiculous, man. I enjoyed that food. It was like a Hawaiian bun, pulled pork
yes,
sandwich. Like it was hitting, and they had the sauce with it in there too with the wet wipe. I was like, dude, this is everything that you need right here. This is
yeah,
clutch.
really prepared you for it. But yeah, dude, great meals. From what it sounded like a very successful event that evening that I came through.
Yes, really good numbers. We had about 170 people come through there. Live radio, live news. We had our SCIU union partners out there with us. It was a daggone good time.
Yeah, sure sounds like it. Yeah, you'll definitely have to let me know next time something's going on like that again.
Absolutely. We got
Wouldn't
our
mind. Wouldn't
Philadelphia concert happening. Yeah, we're having our Can't Wait Live. We're going to have Saweetie, Wyclef Jean out there.
really?
Yeah, you're the first to hear this. We've been in the talks with Billie Eilish to headline.
No
Um,
way.
yeah, I've been talking to the managers, so I'm hoping that we can lock that down, because if we get Billie Eilish in Philly for this concert, like I'm dropping everything I have, and that's where I'm going on vacation. I'm going to work
Yeah,
on vacation. Yeah,
right. I mean, you're going to see that. Like,
oh,
sounds
heck
like a
yeah,
great lineup. It works out well.
absolutely.
That's great, man. So you reached out to me earlier in the week. I put out my podcast a couple days late. I had a couple technical problems come up here and there, but in the most recent episode, I covered the first week of the Olympics and reached out to me like finally a podcast that's covering things outside of just like the basic sports that everyone pays attention to, soccer, basketball. Trying to think what other popular ones. I mean, really like
Swimming, gymnastics,
yeah. So
track
I
at
did
the end.
cover. I covered a lot of like the little stuff, which I came today. And I'm ready to talk more about the Olympics. But before we get into it, I'm just going to name off quite a few of the events that we have remaining in the Olympics this week. That we have a few more days. We have 5 more days till the Olympics end. But until it ends, we still have artistic swimming and gymnastics. We have track and field, baseball, softball, beach volleyball, boxing, canoeing, cycling, diving, equestrian, football, golf, handball, hockey. I'm still going. Judo, karate, marathon swimming, the pentathlon, sailing, which happened at the beginning of this week. We still have a couple more skateboarding events. Sports climbing, that happened, I believe, yesterday. And reading through that stuff, that's pretty crazy. It's a lot deeper than what the average person thinks when it comes to sports climbing. And then we still have table tennis, water polo, weightlifting, and wrestling. So we got all of like the big events out of the way the first week, and now it's time to focus on the smaller stuff outside of your football, basketball, swimming, and gymnastics.
Oh my gosh! Like people don't really realize too what all we've missed coming in right now. And it's so
it's
many
crazy.
sports piled up. And I was looking at the area they had the drone coming in off of one of the commercials, and they were just showing like all the different arenas and the resources. And I'm like, you couldn't share any of these arenas for any other sport like any other collegiate campus does ever. Like it's
Right.
absolutely impossible. Like forget COVID. Like you have no room, no time at all.
Yeah. And it's a shame that all these big broadcasting corporations are only covering basic stuff. Like maybe I
Yeah.
want to sit down and watch canoe sprints, you know?
Oh, absolutely. That's some of the coolest stuff because whenever you get to learn the rules about how it goes, and you're
Exactly.
looking at the people, and what about the actual individuals that have worked all this time? Like I
Yeah.
was looking at an interview the
With
other
very
day,
little airtime.
and you talk about like the come down from all that. Can you just imagine from just your sport after 4 or 5 years, just getting the headlights in that 30 seconds?
Oh, that's crazy. Just 30 seconds. They like I feel like these corporations could have done a much better job with really communicating like what's going on back and forth, and they really have like the upper hand in it because they're the only ones that really have this information regarding
Yeah,
all the outcomes of the sports, so we have to wait for it to come out each night.
yeah. No, it was
But
not
I
your
mean, I
March
definitely
Madness type of mentality yet, because a lot of them
mhm,
you'll see they're not live. Like especially we're not going to see Simone Biles's balance beam performance until prime time this evening, and it
exactly.
happened at oddly probably 3 or 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hmm.
So and especially too they can't just show flicks up. They can only show you the pictures. They can't actually show you the actual video footage yet because of the rights and the things like that. And it's mostly NBC that's broadcasting. It's not
It
like it's a
is.
March Madness thing where it's like True TV, TnT, TBS that's all broadcast because these channels have bought it out and they've waited for these 2 weeks in March to buy up this TV broadcasting space. And that's the thing too. Like they complain about a lot of the NBA contracts that ESPN and TNT especially overbought, right? Because that's why we're seeing these
Hmm.
super max deals. But TV stations could have made all their money back for this Olympics, actually covering
Exactly.
every single sport, and especially the new sports. Like there's so many new sports that have came in. Like you said, rock climbing. 2024, they're going to introduce breakdancing. Like they're always introducing more new sports, so there's more new broadcasting contracts that can be made
Exactly.
off of these new sports that can be collected in this once in a 4 year span. Lord willing, another pandemic doesn't happen.
Knock on wood. But yeah, really. And like with like what's happening on prime time, like you turn on NBC probably in the next like hour or so, and it only lists like 4 sports that they're covering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where can I tune in to watch rowing? Where can I tune in to
Exactly.
watch like discus? You know,
Oh
but they're
yeah.
just covering just the basic ones. And then, I mean, fortunately for us, like we have the Olympic channel, which covers a little more,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still not getting like all of them.
Oh yeah. It's definitely not your NFL Red Zone on
No,
Sunday afternoon
no, you don't have the NFL package with the Olympics.
at all.
Uh, no, not at all. But to kind of update all the listeners on where we are in terms of medal count, the USA is currently leading with 73 medals, I believe. So we have 24 gold, 28 silver, 21 bronze. China followed behind that with 32 gold, so they do have us beat in that with 21 silver, 16 bronze, and then Japan in third place with 13 gold, 21 silver, 18 bronze, and then the remaining placements as followed: Australia, dang, I didn't write this one out, so I skipped a number. But Australia, whatever, I don't know what's supposed to be fifth or sixth. United Kingdom, France, Germany, uh, Republic of Korea, and then the Netherlands. The Netherlands have definitely shocked me to be in the top 10. I wasn't
Yeah.
really expecting it, but looking further into it, like they have had a lot of high performers.
Yeah. North Korea was peaking into the top 10 early too as well for a little bit. I think one of the ones you missed was probably the Russian Olympic Committee.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That how could I forget them?
Right? For real. Which is so funny because
And
um,
I just
I,
left a gap in my notes right there. But yeah,
I debated the defending national champ before the COVID craze happened on the Russian Olympic Committee. It was,
really.
Russian athletes should be banned in the next Olympics. And that was my entire case, was that there can be an Olympic committee made where they don't have the PED tested athletes on it. And the only thing is that they won't be able to wear their uniform, have their logo represented, excuse me, or have their national anthem played, which is exactly what's happening now. And it's so funny
So are you
because
saying you called it before?
I
You're
called it. This
predicting
was
the
a part
future?
of my case, and I lost. And I lost. I lost this round. I lost this round, and
Damn shame.
it's ridiculous. It's
If only they
ridiculous.
knew.
If only they knew. But obviously, the Russian spies were in that round, and they got it to
They
work.
were they were
So,
taking notes.
shout out to the ROC. You guys have been bussing.
Dude, they've been doing very well, which I can't knock the hustle at all. Australia as well. Australia is
Hmm.
showing out in a lot of big events.
Oh yes, absolutely. The host country Japan has been holding it down. They've
They
been
have. They're
well
in fourth right now.
represented. They've been well represented. As you said, the Netherlands has been staying around, which is usually a FIFA name that is very high around, but now they have stayed around very good in the Olympics. Um, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to even see a lot of countries get some of their first ones. I think Cuba got some of their first today. There was I believe it was wrestling or maybe it was taekwondo. We had one of the first. One of those other countries I can't remember. Germany medaled today in males gymnastics for the it was balance beams. It's just been interesting to see a lot of these sovereign nations that people don't typically recognize every day. Lord willing, because of not an international conflict, but or even the history isn't that bright, but they're realizing them right now in the world of the Olympics this summer.
There's some athletes that have been showing out.
Hmm.
100%. 100%. So I do also have some highlights and some lowlights from this past week, which we can, I'll name out a couple. We can talk about it. Name out a couple of lowlights. We'll talk about it and just kind of work down the list. How's that sound?
Absolutely, let's get it.
Okay, so to begin with track and field, we have Valerie Allman, who won gold in discus the other day with the distance of 68 meters, 68.98 meters. I cannot fathom if I could whip a discus like that.
No,
But
no, not at all. And the technique that goes into
the
it.
technique, I've watched videos on the technique, and it's crazy. Like that and pole vault. Like the technique
Yes.
for that is unreal. I mean, not pole vault, shot put.
Yeah.
Very
Shot
very
put too as
similar
well.
very similar movements, but yeah. So she won gold with 68.98 meters. Next thing, we've talked about how basketball is getting a lot of the limelight, but women's U.S. basketball, I say, deserves it.
Absolutely.
They deserve the clout. They won over France the other day with a 93-82 win to continue their 52 win streak, and Australia is next.
So many legends, and also as well in 3x3 basketball.
Yeah,
Three
the
on
3
three
on 3.
basketball.
It's
They
a
had
shame.
They had WNBA players actually represented in there. Kelsey Plum, who was like a #1 draft pick out of Washington University the same year as Markelle Fultz. She actually had an injury which didn't allow her to be on the U.S. women's team, but she recovered good enough to bounce back for the 3-on-3 team. And they took that. I mean, the women's basketball, and you're talking about actual fundamental players and athletes in this sport.
Exactly.
We look too much at LeBron James dunking and Steph Curry's three-pointers that are the entertainment that's made the NBA have these large contracts and sums of money. But the fundamentals that the women actually have in their field
It's
in
a different
professional
game.
leagues, they'll put 50s on our head. Yes, we're walking civilians, but
Yeah,
yes,
really.
easily.
But yeah, 52 win streak. Great. I'm hoping they can continue to hold it down. A gold would be spectacular for not only the U.S., but for the women's basketball in the U.S.
Oh,
And
yes.
I really think that'll help put them on the map more and gain more respect from the people that, okay, like, these girls aren't a joke. Like, these girls can show out.
Absolutely.
And then we have Suni Lee holding it down for the gang with the bronze performance the other day on the uneven bars. And she let the press know the other day that she was going to be taking a few days away from Twitter and other social media just to kind of like maintain her composure, not get overwhelmed by what everyone's saying. She did say that she's going to keep TikTok because TikTok's pure entertainment. But it's crazy because when she gets back from Japan, she's leaving for college.
Yep.
Leaving for college. This girl's leaving for college after winning a bronze. That's wild.
Real. And she's going to Auburn, southern part of the United States. Like, it's just going to be interesting. It's just going from one heat condition until, because they've been dealing with the heat down there.
They have.
And so it's actually going to be funny because she's definitely going to be ready for training camp coming into this fall semester. She's already dealt with the heat. It's going to be a very interesting
She's conditioned.
campus environment as well too. She'll probably never have to pay for anything for that first month. So especially with the fact that athletes can get paid. So
I was just about to say that. I was thinking
I'm not even saying
NIL in my
anything
head.
wrong right now.
No, not at all.
She'd
Get
rather
away
cut a
with it
check
now.
as she should, because a large part in the Olympics, you don't really get paid other than the endorsements that come on afterwards. That's
Exactly.
why largely in part we only send amateurs over there because there was no benefit to the professionals that we did send. This is a great little opportunity for her. I'm happy for the experience that she's going to have in college, and the more the merrier.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, she'll have a hell of a college experience, especially coming back from Japan, still on the high of competing in the Olympics. Which brings me to the next page, which we're going to turn over a little bit to some low lights of the Olympics, things that, weren't so great to see. Argentina beat U.S. men's volleyball. Kind of a bummer to see. Have you watched much of men's volleyball?
Yes, I have.
Some athletes.
For real.
Some athletes.
They got some jumpers like Jordan out in that mud.
It's unreal. And then Sandy Morris competed for U.S. She won a silver medal at Rio for the pole vault. And when she went to go compete the other day during qualifiers, the pole snapped. She ended up injuring herself, and she was no longer eligible for the finals, which will be between Russian Olympic Committee. Drawing blanks here. Russian Olympic Committee in Greece, and they had to beat 4.55 meters to qualify. So definitely unfortunate to see that happen. Another very entertaining thing to watch is pole vaulting.
Yes.
4.55 meters. That's pretty far up there.
Oh yeah, that's getting up there. I actually, when I was in high school, Capital High School, which is in Charleston, our capital city here, there was a kid, Tristan Slater. He was Canadian, right?
Hmm.
And he was actually trying to get to go to Rio Olympics because that was our graduation year, was 16. And I mean, I'll tell you what, like he was hitting like 15 feet. Like he was cashing in 15, 16 feet up there. Talk about I was going to represent Canada, and he ended up going to Tennessee. I don't think he actually
Okay.
went. I don't think he went to Rio 16, but he did go to Tennessee pole vaulting. But just watching like people clap him on the way up, and just to actually see somebody do a technique to tweak a pole and use their back to arch them up to get over something that is almost two basketball goals off of the ground.
Yes. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Another thing that unfortunately happened, women's beach volleyball was eliminated by Canada the other day after a controversial challenge, which appeared the U.S. had won the point. However, after review, it was out, and the point was awarded to Canada. And, back to what we were talking about with broadcasting, this problem came up where where the operator selected the wrong button and it was displayed incorrectly across all screens. So people were kind of left hanging there, not realizing that no, they didn't get that point. So unfortunately, see women's beach volleyball now out. I think Canada will do well though.
Yeah,
But I mean, always an entertaining sport to watch.
it is
Um,
absolutely.
Another thing that I did see that stood out to me, an Irish boxer injured himself after winning the other day. After winning the quarterfinal, he was celebrating in the ring and then appeared to hurt his ankle and left in a wheelchair.
Oh wow,
Uh,
that
Fortunately for
happened
him,
last
he
night
will
too.
finish with a bronze medal. But man, that
That happened to a
hurts.
brother from Jamaica. I think it was in the 200. He might have pulled up too fast, or I think they say he had an asthma attack. But he had to be like he was like one of the top two qualifiers, and he had to be carried off in a wheelchair. Hopefully, he
Hurts.
got some rest. It's crazy.
Yeah, really. A very similar thing happened to a Canadian diver where she
Mhm.
went to go off and just
Yep,
didn't have it, and she just jumped right in.
yep, I
Um,
saw that right there, and she was
I-
actually in contention to get a medal,
she was, which is, oh my
which was
gosh,
awesome too at the same time because it paved way for that American sister to get up in there, who didn't start diving until she was 20 at a community college.
it's not too late for me.
Like she was originally she thinks she had blew her knees out twice doing trampoline, and um, ended up doing diving in community college at 20 years old, and just scooped her up. I think it was a
Now
silver
at the
medal.
Olympics. That's crazy. But yeah, to see that Canadian diver after she got a zero on that dive, like she was just sitting in the cool down pool with her hand or with her face in her palms, like I just couldn't imagine. And that's your competition for
Yep.
going back home living with that dude. It's got to be hard. Um, which kind of brings me to the next thing when talking about kind of dealing with that mental toughness. Tennis player Novak Djokovic, I believe is
Yeah.
how you pronounce his name. So earlier last week, he went on to talk about kind of mental toughness when relating to Simone Biles after her kind of stepping down from her events last week, and was saying like when you're competing at that high level, like you learn to live with the pressure, and you learn kind of how for it to you learn for it to motivate you,
Mhm.
and how you still must continue to push on. But he recently lost against Pablo Carrano Busto from Spain in three
Yep.
sets the other day, followed by him throwing his racket, flying home, and leaving his doubles partner without a partner.
Yep.
It's crazy. He went and said that pressure is privilege, but then he threw a temper tantrum after losing and then left his teammate, who they could have won a medal, left him in the
Exactly.
dust.
Exactly. Because he couldn't get the golden slam.
Yep.
That was absolute. That showed true colors of him. It definitely takes him out of a fan loving goat conversation compared to a Nadal or a Federer, right? Because the fans love him, the masters of the clay, the masters of the
Yes.
grass. That even though he didn't secure the Golden Slam, which would have made him the second of all to, only to do that in tennis history, this definitely, from a fan standpoint, kills him in the legendary status. That is just absolute terrible, unsportsmanlike conduct. And then to also another athlete, it's a fraternity to be an athlete, especially an Olympiad, and to just go down on them in their time of crisis. Which I
Uh,
mean, have you seen the further story about Simone with the medical conditions?
yes, I have.
I mean, like she's going to one of the strictest countries on this planet that are not allowing her to take everyday medication. I bet you if I couldn't take my fish oil every day, we'd have a problem. No cap. No cap. This is not to be a joke. If somebody told me I gotta stop abruptly from taking my multivitamins and fish oil, we might have an issue. So if you're
Yeah.
told to have something that you have used for a medical
I believe
condition for
she's not
years,
allowed to take Adderall. Like she's
yeah,
prescribed Adderall and
Ritalin.
hadn't been
It was
allowed to take
Ritalin.
Ritalin.
Yep,
That's crazy. I mean, I'd suffer a breakdown too. Um,
exactly. And she had a
but
special
when
she had a special treatment in Rio 16 that allowed her to still take it, with the flights and stuff like that. But Japan said no.
That's crazy. And at first, when the tennis player spoke on that, saying that pressure is privilege, I did have like a level of respect for that. Like I could definitely see where he was
Oh
coming
yeah,
from. But after the show he put on, out the window.
yeah. And then now I don't think everybody lusts for fame like people think. There's some celebrities absolutely that lust for fame, especially if you look at trolls now. Like you know that there's people that lust for attention and want the fame, and so they're like, hey, you got to charge to the game. Some people, like a Naomi Osaka, like a Simone Biles, that just get famous overnight because they dethroned the legend of that time. Because Simone Biles took Gabby Douglas because Naomi Osaka started beating the Williams sisters. It's something that you have just prepared for in the sport. In the entertainment sector, nobody's trying to be famous. Nobody's been working on this since they were 5 years old, like some people have.
Right.
So I think that you have to have a respect to it because a lot of people really, truthfully, don't like a camera always in their face and a microphone listening to everything that they say.
Yeah. And that's what I was kind of shocked by, especially after Simone dropped out of the events last week. They had the camera on her the full time, kind of on the sidelines, picked up
Yep.
everything she said.
Hmm.
Dang, that's unreal.
Yeah, it's almost like she was forcing to cheer for her teammates. Forcing to take her mask off and be the one yelling the loudest out of all the other teammates that were just trying to literally sit there and support their team. Because I mean, anybody that has been a part of varsity and you just sit back and watch JV, you're not trying to be the student section. Not
Right.
so much that that's JV's job, but JV just won their game, and while varsity's playing, of course they should use all their extra energy to cheer on varsity. While varsity's sitting down watching JV, you can chill. You should be able to sit back and chill. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like really
Exactly.
kind of what was going on is that people don't really have the opportunity to just literally sit back and get their mind right, put in their AirPods and just lock in. And just that's one of the best things I loved about Caleb Dressel. Before he would take on the swimming pool, like you would just see him with his cap on, goggles already on, AirPods in, his full suit already on, just locked and loaded in the background, like not caring about a thing in the world except like his lane, literally his lane.
Yeah.
So that's some of the things that you like to see. It's always like the iconic LeBron meme, down 3-1 with the glasses, just sitting back. It's those times of
Yeah.
preparation.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of hit back on swimming, like swimming did not disappoint at all. Actually, like I was very impressed with athletes outside of the U.S. with their performances. Like a lot of people I'd never really thought much about. I believe the first day of swimming there was the guy out of Tunisia, I believe. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he from lane 8. So when you're in lane 8, that means you have the slowest seed time, and he went and won first place. So like to see these athletes that, may not get like globally recognized to come out and, get a gold medal is
Mhm.
unreal.
Absolutely. Like there's people that are really, I mean, people with long careers, people that are coming back from things, people, I mean, even a lot of youth, right? There was a lot of young phenoms from other countries that not so much got humbled, but for the first time seeing that stage, understood what experience has over that. You're not gonna, if you're in the running to hit a world record or an Olympic record, you realize it doesn't matter if you're running to win an Olympic record or a world record. It's what wins that day. And
Yep.
yesterday's home runs don't win today's games. So you have to take every single moment where it's at and then expound on it. And that's what a lot of these vets have in the tank.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for the younger people, like for especially skateboarding, like all the people that won top three under 20 years old in
Hmm.
for women's skateboarding. Like you have kids in middle school getting gold medals. Can you imagine that?
Oh gosh, it's like a Tiger Woods, probably because this was probably the youngest athlete that I could imagine like really going pro, like for all these kids 3 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's getting a Venus and Serena moment in that type of fashion, or a Tiger Woods moment, or maybe even LeBron James moment where he was famous at 15, 16 years old. They're getting these moments right now in this Olympic week.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I agree. And last thing that I did want to hit on was U.S. men's basketball. They definitely had a rough start, but we're slowly beginning to see the pieces fit together, especially with Durant dropping 29 over Spain.
Yes.
Um, they're set to play Australia in the semifinals. Hopefully, they can hold it down. Hopefully, they can keep up that consistency as they've held the past couple of games and not go back to where they were, losing to Nigeria.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that there's we gotta understand this. Like, there's a coaching change with Greg
Mm-hmm.
Popovich over, the mighty Coach K.
Coach K.
Um, then you also realize too that we, for the first time in a while, have not sent our best athletes, probably since 2004, and you know what happened then. And then at the same rate, there's a lot of things going on with NBA free agency right now. Like Evan Fournier from France that gave the U.S. 30 points, well 28 to be exactly, but basically dropped a 30-piece nugget with no sauce. He
Yep.
just signed a deal to go to the Chicago Bulls, leaving the Boston Celtics. So there's a lot of things going on across borders that are concerning, their futures, their lives, their careers, things going on. That's kind of going with it, but that boy Luca in Slovenia. I mean, I'm going to
Oh
love
yeah. Oh
this gold
yeah.
medal matchup that we're going to have. It's going to look like it's probably going to be there. I mean, even Australia, Patty Mills, Andrew Bogut, some really good NBA professionals that are over there that are going to be represented. It's this is probably one of the best like overall pools of basketball that we have had in the Olympics,
Yeah.
considering
I
it's not
agree.
just Spain and the U.S. You actually do have a Slovenia,
The
you have a
spread.
good France. Yeah, it's very spread out.
Yeah. But it's a bummer that the Olympics will be over at the end of this week.
Yep,
But
track
I
is
mean, for the
rounding
two
it
week
out.
period, yeah, for the 2 week period, like it's still great to see like the country come together, all agree on something, support the same people, kind of put our differences aside for that, for the most part. Um, but hopefully the next Olympics, like we'll be able to have the fans back, and I think the fans play a huge role in performances.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you see it now. People are, going on Microsoft Teams and, through the interview, they're seeing their family and having little shout outs,
Mm-hmm.
after they win their medal, but it's just not the same. It's
No,
just
not
not
at
the
all.
same. And knowing I'm about to see my family this evening and we're about to go, celebrate somewhere in this country that we would never be for no other reason but right now, and enjoy what's happened, the accomplishments. And that's win, lose, or draw. I mean, that's for people that finish at the very absolute bottom because you made it
They're
to the
still there.
Olympics. Like your family's still there. So I bet the come down for that person that has finished at the absolute bottom has been a lot more painful, considering the fact that they're kind of just alone. It's just them and their trainer and their coach, and then they literally have to depend and cheer on the rest of their team for the rest of their time there, and they don't have their family there. So I really am looking forward to 2024, and what's going to happen, and the fact that we're going to have fans and families back there with the athletes, so we can literally get the absolute best of everybody. I'm not saying that we didn't get the absolute best of everybody, but I know, and everybody knows that this was as strange Olympics as anyone else, and
Yes.
that not that we need a redo, but I would just love to see fans and families bring the absolute best out of everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And then 2028, they're in LA. Is that right?
Yeah, 2028 is LA secured. I might have to start
That's
getting
gonna
into
be
savings.
crazy.
Yeah, I might have to start dipping in these high yield cryptos to get that thing going.
Might have to. Algorand, what's up?
Hey, you already know what it is. What do you think about track? We're finishing out track.
I haven't kept up much with track. I watched a little bit last night, but actually, a girl that went to my rival high school, Carrie Harrison,
Hmm.
won silver.
Oh
So from
wow,
my town, won silver.
wow!
Hmm.
Represent. Y'all need to get a day in her name or something.
Yeah, really. So at the high school, I drove past it the other night outside the football field. Like, you know how you put cups in the fence to like draw out words and all that?
Hmm.
Like they have her name across like the entire like end zone period or end zone like space. Like wishing her good luck in Tokyo.
Wow, that's super smooth. That's super smooth. Yeah, it's been a lot of good stuff happening in track. It's been a lot of good races. Noah Lyles, he went pro. I think around the same time I went to college to run track.
Okay.
He's wicked. He's blazing the 200 meter. Dude, I used to like fanboy and DM Fred Curley from Texas A&M. He won the 100 meter. Um, yeah, freaking ridiculous. I mean, so it's a lot of good things happening out there on the track. There was
Yeah.
world records broke, two world records broken at the same time last night. 400 meter hurdles. Dude from Norway won, but dude from U.S. actually broke the world record too and got second. Like it was a wicked good race. Gabby Thomas has been killing it. Allison
Hmm.
Phillips is looking to dominate. Poor Wade Vanderkirk, who set the world record for the 400 meter dash in 2016, the one that ran in lane 9 blind and won it with a 43:03. He had a bad loss last night, really bad loss, but the 400 is really looking strong this year for Noah Norman. He went pro. He was running like a 45-second 400 in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people that I
Wow.
remember looking at idols is whenever I was in high school, whenever I was on the track scene, are starting to take over and dominate, and it's just so crazy. I tell people, 2016, 2017, 2018, those were the best years of athletes. I'm sorry about anybody else, but like that's when the prime athletes was coming out.
Right. I'll tell you who hasn't disappointed is Jamaica. Been
Yeah,
killing it. Killing it. It's
yeah.
unreal.
Jamaica is well represented in the game, super athletic. They have an energy, especially with their colors, that just make them undeniable. They just won't let you ignore them.
They make it look
Unrelentless.
so easy too.
Hmm.
So easy.
Oh yeah.
Like I watched one race last night. I couldn't remember who it was from Jamaica, but she finished like everyone else is like bending at the waist, like
Oh
hands on
yeah,
their
yeah.
knees,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and she
She was
just
just
she just walks off like it was nothing. Like a
acting like she
33-year-old runner, bro, walks off like it was nothing.
about to get her second wind in. She's about to just do a cool down lap. Yeah, it's ridiculous out here to see the tank that some of these athletes have. I mean, I'm
Right.
seeing them finish a 400. I know. I mean, I'm seeing them finish a 5,000 meter, and they're kicking. I mean, the kick in that last 200 of a 5,000 meter by some of these
Oh my
athletes is
gosh, it's unreal. Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous.
they've come prepared,
Oh yes, and they've
but
definitely prepared for the heat.
2024.
Hey, such a time as this, get it now, get it good.
Yeah, really. I mean, we got the Winter Olympics coming up, so we might
Yep.
have to do a little podcast prepping for that.
Absolutely. Hey, man, listen, Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart ain't got nothing on
Yes,
us. Like, we
yes,
need to get our own
we got
highlight
it.
show. Everybody, please start donating to the fund now. We're going to get the Thad and Chris TnC Winter Olympics highlight show.
TnC takes on Winter Olympics.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
Honestly,
for
though,
real. For,
thinking about it, I think that that would be a good thing for like stereo. I think that like doing like a little late night stereo.
oh, you might have just did something, Thad.
I think
Ooh,
we could take it from Kevin and Snoop. I think we got it in the taking.
not a bad idea. Stream it on Twitch, get on stereo. Thad,
Ooh.
we draw $1 million ideas all the time. Like we're calling shots before they even happen. For example, we talked about this recently with Zoom, saying they got to make another step, and then they went and purchased. Who'd they buy again? What was the name of them?
Um, I don't even know. I mean,
It
there was a
was.
time that we said it and they did GoPro. I mean, so
Yep.
there's a lot of times that we do have confidence in companies just from past experience. And it's coming soon. We're about to have our own private equity fund here.
Without a doubt.
So
I'm not worried.
we're we about to raise the capital. We're about to make sure that we're probably one of
Raise
the
the
biggest
capital.
market makers out here. Goldman Sachs is calling us as we speak, telling us to chill it out.
Yeah,
But
my phone's off the hook right now.
like, why would we work for Goldman whenever we could just do it our own self? So
Which, by the way, Goldman increased their salary by 30% for junior bankers. You see that?
yes,
Going
yes,
from 80,000 to 110,000. Which I mean, like, if you're working 90 hours a week, making 110 a year, like, okay, I'll take it
absolutely. Like, and especially, did you see
as a
that article
junior
too?
banker.
Did you see too that latest article that came out, especially speaking about mental illness, where the SPACs were making people get 4 hours of sleep a week? 4 hours of sleep a week because so many SPACs were coming across their desks, and because they're a market maker,
Right.
were literally driving them to just stay up at unreasonable. Like there's one thing if it's a merger. You understand what I'm saying? Like merger, you crunch it
The
out, you
work needs to get
celebrate
done.
after. Yeah, you work hard, you play harder after, you recover. But these SPACs that we did have the beginning of this year, which you,
Too many
wow,
to count.
I can't even imagine what it was like to work in that type of environment. I'm sure that there was crying all over the office. People smelled like pigs. People looked like Pigpen off of Charlie Brown. Um, it was probably just yeah, it was probably a mess house.
It's crazy. And you finish one, and it's on to the next one.
Yeah, on to the
Back to
next one.
back to back to
On
back.
to the next one. Back to back to back to back to back. So yeah, they deserve this. They deserve this. I'm glad that it didn't take a crash or some crazy scandal for them to do it. I'm glad that which I actually do love that CEO that they have at Goldman.
Hey, Goldman,
Part-time DJ, part-time CEO.
respect the game.
Yeah, he's a lot more better. He's a lot more to the public acceptable than Blankenfine, which after the crash, I think a lot of people, a lot of the reason why people did give backlash at Goldman, besides $13 billion from AIG, was the fact that they had no consumer resonance because do you have a card in your wallet or have you ever gotten junk mail from Goldman Sachs? No, you have not. So,
Oh,
have you ever seen a commercial from Goldman Sachs? No, you have not. So, it's not for you, almost in that sense. So, whenever you saw that they literally had something to deal with you, they blink and find. I was watching a Charlie Rose interview just the other day, and I used to watch Charlie Rose growing up because that was one of the only channels I had was PBS and ABC. But Blake and Fine was on there, and it was the way he was trying to talk about what they were doing to the general public. It just wasn't there. Now the new CEO that they have there now, especially with the fact that he's a DJ, he's so very nice to the general public. It's somebody that somebody can see whenever he calls into CNBC or anywhere else that he's at. That this is actually a pretty chill guy. He's a decent guy. He's an everyday guy.
right.
And so I really think that that's good for Goldman, for their CEO and leadership, that the direction that they're in now. And the fact that they are rewarding the junior bankers now, especially after the SPAC field season that we had, is wonderful. It's wonderful to see that capitalism actually does do something good for once again to all the
The
people
list is
that hate.
short, but yeah.
Yeah, the list is short. Something's happening over there with Melvin that we can't speak about, but at least Goldman's got it right. At least let you know that they've been here for 100 years. They'll be here for 100 more.
There we go. And then, we'll talk a little bit. We'll just cover a couple more minutes of some finance stuff, just kind of top it off.
Yeah.
Robinhood just went public this past
Yes.
week. They had, I believe, an 18% jump since their IPO. Last time I checked earlier today, it was around $45, $46. Started trading around 33, I believe. What are your takes on it? Where do you think Robinhood's heading from here?
Well, I want to ask, do you know if they had sent a notice to their traders that they could get it on this IPO price before they hit the market? Do you know if that was like exclusive if you had a Robinhood account that you were getting this notification?
Oh, I'm not sure because I did get the email a few weeks ago because I no longer use Robinhood, but I
Yeah.
have 5 cents sitting in my account just to waste their time. So I still get the emails, but they did, like you said, they did introduce like this new IPO thing. However, the downside to it was once you buy it, you have to hold it.
Yeah.
You can't sell within a certain period. You can't flip it one day and then
Hmm.
buy the next. Like once you have that IPO, you have that IPO. As for Robinhood specifically going public and them releasing to their customers prior to it, I'm not 100% sure.
Because
Kind of the steps
if
they took.
not, that honestly just kind of goes back into who people in the public felt about Robinhood. Because I'll tell you straight off, I got one for Webull, you know, and just the fact that you don't feel any different with Robinhood than you really can with any other trading platform. It really, and see, that's the Coinbase IPO completely different. You felt
Yeah.
that being on Coinbase compared to Voyager, Kraken, Binance, it was something customarily different with being on Coinbase because it was very directly tied with CoinMarketCap. It was so accessible to you, especially with the changing markets and the portfolio management. And so when the IPO hit, you felt very great in where it was going to be as a public company. Robinhood has been
Right.
the exact same. Like Robinhood versus a TD Ameritrade, a Fidelity, anywhere else that have these online brokers, even a Webull that's not public, and even has troubles with ByteDance, right? People have more security to go try other brokerage markets on their phone other than Robinhood because there's nothing unique about being with Robinhood, it feels like. It moved a little bit faster and advanced than Cash App for that little bit of time. And of
Yep.
course, Acorns, which was only taking the remainder of your change and putting in a lot of other different stocks. But like,
Acorns was in on it quick. Acorns
yeah,
was probably one of the first ones.
and it was locked in with PayPal, so that made it really feel secure too. So there was no question about that. Cash App, same thing with Square. Robinhood, it felt a lot more advanced in its time, but it didn't feel unique in its experience. And after the whole "well, won't let you sell" thing, that's a hard thing to come back from. And
It
Vlad
is.
did not execute like Jeff Bezos did after cheating on his wife or any other black swan event that CEOs have had to deal with. And I think that he should have been prepared for that, especially if he wanted to be a public company. That's just my personal opinion on it. So, does that sound a little negative about Robinhood? Yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, as a public company, I can only wish the best for it. People that
Yep.
are a part of that community and family, I hope that they can prove me wrong and show me something different, and that they can actually develop themselves to where I do feel like a liar, and that I do want to buy in on the company, and therefore the valuation of it will rise, like other
Yep.
companies have done, like an Amazon, for example.
Kathy Woods is talking about Robinhood too recently. Talking
Yeah.
about putting some money in, or if she doesn't have something already, which I mean, she does that. Like then, I guess I have Robinhood too through some of her ETFs.
Yes, Kathy's honestly, I've loved her transparency this last month. She did
Yeah,
a
great
live
point.
with Elon Musk the other day, and gosh, Square, Twitter, Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey was
Dorsey.
on there as well. So she had them a part of their call of her call. She does weekly calls on YouTube. She's probably one of the most transparent people in the game. I mean, you don't get to see Warren and Charlie Munger until Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholders meeting. You
Yeah,
don't get to see a lot of other CEOs of their companies until they're having their keynote speeches. But
or
Kathy,
until they're
you
flying
see,
to space.
Touche. Gabby's very transparent every Sunday evening on her YouTube. It's made me a lot more hesitant and feeling very great as a and I say hesitant in a sense that I'm always looking for the Sunday meeting that she has before I weekly strategize, right? So I really do like the things that she offers there as a CEO of that ETF and the many ETFs that they bring and the transparency that that has. And I think a lot more people can learn from that. And she's just as crazy as the next person. The best thing is that she's transparent about it. She'll tell you straight up, yeah, I'm going to buy more Bitcoin. And sure enough, it went on a $10,000 rally. And, you know, she's sitting pretty good with that decision.
Yep, that is true. Well, Thaddy B, my camera just died, but I just switched it to my webcam, so we still got the footage. But I'm stoked you're able to come on today. I'm glad that we were able to link back up. I know you've been crazy busy being on tour. I know how being on the road is.
Yeah, man.
But dude, I'm stoked that it went super well. I'm more than excited to hear about the future of it and kind of where you guys are going from here. Happy we could definitely cover some Olympic events and then finally finish it off with some Robinhood and some finance talk, which I feel like you and I have been lacking these past few months,
Yes.
just because of our conflicting schedules. But we'll get on a stereo call soon here. We'll let the people know. We'll move some markets and TnC Capital and TnC Winter Olympics edition coming soon.
Sir, hey, I appreciate it. It was an honor to be on here as usual. Gonna have to definitely get you on the enrichment channel as I revamp that up going into this fall.
There we go.
And you know, just more projects coming from the TnC boys.
There we go. You got anything else to plug? You got the enrichment podcast. We got the Discord. You got anything else going?
No, not right now. We just got that. Everybody too. Like I said, I'm gonna send you the info over to sign the People's Charter. Everybody that wants to join that and see what we got going on with that and see what you got going on near you as far as Working Families Party is concerned. And Chris, once again, wonderful work, wonderful brand. Thank you for letting me be on here, brother. You keep up great work.
Of course, man. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. You too, man.
All right, man. I'll see you.